Hi guys, Sarah from Miko Blue Tiny Living. Look, I've had a couple people ask me, what if? What if I try this and it isn't for me? You're standing there on the edge of something awesome. You're standing there on the edge of jumping in and making a decision that will honestly change the direction of your family. But you're there frozen thinking, what if? You've got all these hesitations. What if it's a huge mistake? What if I hate it? What if? What if? And you're paralyzed. You feel stuck moving forward. And I have to be honest with you and tell you that I had that moment of hesitation. So I want to tell you about the moment that I stood there hesitating the most and I nearly quit. And honestly, it was before we'd actually got very far through our project at all. All right, let me back up and tell you the story. Right, so it was after we started our project. Our trailer was in our driveway. It had not long arrived, and I had spent most of the morning on the phone trying to get insurance. And I kept getting the ring around because the DIY building companies wouldn't insure a tiny house on wheels because it was an unknown variable to them. And the tiny house on wheels insurance wouldn't cover the building, like the DIY building side. They would only start the coverage once everything was completed. And I'm a calculated risk taker. I can take a risk if I know that there's a plan B. Like, it's got to be a calculated risk. And we just invested so much money. We had our savings. We had enough savings that we could have bought land. And we decided that the land that we could afford to buy and that we wanted to buy wasn't yet developed, which meant it was going to take time to put fences up and develop it and, put a house in. And we were just going to be running back and forth between our house and a job trying to make this work. So instead we decided to do this backflip, right? So we decided to build a tiny house, save up again, buy the land, move the tiny house on, and actually reverse it. So instead of buying the land and then trying to develop it so you can move on and all the time it takes to do that, we decided to reverse it. So that's why we started. And so we just invested all this savings into our trailer and the start of our building materials. And we got on the trailer. So I just spent the morning on the phone with the insurance company, so I was feeling a bit flat. And then we stood on the trailer and we drew out the floor plan. And the floor plan is great. Like, you've seen the house, right? You've seen how functional it is. But when there were no walls and all I could see was this wide open space of yards and houses and street and trees and everything else, suddenly the trailer felt so small. And I found myself standing there thinking, what on earth have we just done? What have we done? We've just spent all this money. What if it is a huge mistake? And I nearly pulled the pin. I actually considered selling the trailer in the state it was with the subfloor already laid and flogging it off and getting our money back and pulling out because I hesitated. And it was scary. It was this calculated risk, which was suddenly I couldn't get the insurance that I thought was going to be my backup plan. And, it scared me. I know how scary it is to stand there and wonder if the money you're spending and this direction that you're taking is the right choice. But I want to tell you, there literally is no right choice. Everything in life is a risk, right? You can buy a house and then the market could crash. Or maybe you buy a house assuming that the market in the area is going to rise and it doesn't and you lose money. You could buy shares in a company and then the company could go bust. Or you could buy shares and then the stock market could crash. All the currency exchanges crash and your shares plummet. You could invest into super or bank accounts and still lose everything. Look at our grandparents' generation. They invested. They trusted that super had their back. And then they had nothing. So everything in life is a risk. It really is. And there is never going to be a right. So it's time, one, to make sure that you're looking at money with gratitude. Gratitude, not fear. Gratitude for being able to pay the bills and being able to make phone calls. Gratitude for being able to drive a car or being able to have access to healthcare. Being grateful for the money that you do have and the money that you're spending. Remind yourself that money is renewable. Even if it takes hard work, it's renewable. There's more out there. You've just got to go make it. And number 3, get really clear on why you're spending it. So I combated that hesitation and that what if with reminding myself why we were spending our money and why we were doing this. Why were we going tiny? So I sat down and wrote it down again and reminded myself, less stuff, less cleaning, more time, more freedom, the steps towards self-sufficiency, the ability to move our house onto land or onto a better opportunity. And I sat with those reasons and those intentions, and it settled my fear. I was still nervous, but I knew that I wanted to at least try. And truthfully, it's been amazing. Yep, there's still a house to clean. Yep, there's still mess and there's still bills. But you know what? Now it takes me to 20 to 40 minutes to tidy instead of a whole day and still feeling like I've accomplished nothing. Yes, it's small, but it's actually so much bigger than I thought it was going to be that day that I stood on the trailer. It's our home. My baby girl learnt to walk in our living room. This is where I cook and put amazing meals on the table in front of my family. This is where I work at the table and feel proud of what I'm accomplishing, the lives I'm impacting and what I'm learning. This is the home where we sit and we snuggle up and watch a movie together, or where we spend time outside playing every single day. I don't hate it, not even a bit. There are days when I feel overwhelmed by the noise or how quickly it gets messy, but I wouldn't take it back for anything. We're much closer as a family. I have more control. I function better. I'm aware of our culture of consumerism, and we're learning to be intentional. I've gone from, someone who just felt frazzled at the end of every day and I couldn't function, to being proud of what I'm accomplishing and being able to see the progress that I make. We love living in our tiny house, and I'm so glad that I battled that hesitation and we went forward and we acted. We jumped in, even though it was scary. And I promise you that, yes, I know it's scary, but I promise you, if you sit down and you write your goals out and you know that this is the solution to move forward, I promise you it's going to be worth it. Get really clear. Remind yourself of why you're making choices and why you're spending money and why you're sacrificing things. Be grateful for where you're at, the money that you have available to you, the way that you spend money, what you're able to access. Be grateful for life. And know that it's never, if everything falls apart, it's actually never as bad as we think it's going to be. There's risk can be scary, but at the end of the day, everything's a risk. So, give it a go. So, if you're sitting there thinking, it's time for me to jump and stop hesitating, go grab my Why Tiny bundle. It'll get you started with all those questions addressing your hesitations and your goals. It'll get you started. It gives you some tools on how you're going to be spending that money and how you're going to get started with the decluttering. Make sure you join my Facebook group and we'll chat. I'd love to be part of that journey for you. Have a great day, guys. Bye. Yeah.